Clapperboard Ballerina, from the world of John Wick, full movie review. The John Wick universe has officially branched out, and while we don't have a formal name for this growing cinematic world yet, the Continental Cinematic Universe might be as good a placeholder as any. With Ballerina, we're stepping into a different corner of that brutal, bullet-drenched reality. And while it proudly waves the Wick banner, this film boldly tries to carve its own path, for better and worse. Woman Dancing, not another John Wick. Directed by Len Wiseman, Underworld, Live Free or Die Hard. Ballerina stars Ana de Armas as Eve, a trained assassin from the Ruska Roma, the same secretive organization that trained John Wick. From the start, it's clear this isn't a carbon copy. Eve isn't God mode like Wick. She's not the mythic, unstoppable Baba Yaga, and that's part of the point. She's smaller, not as strong, and as her mentor reminds her, she has to fight smart. This adds a refreshing tactical angle to the action. Where Wick would bulldoze through a room full of enemies with terrifying efficiency, Eve relies on cunning, agility, and improvisation. Think more cat burglar than battering ram, more Natasha Romanoff than Frank Castle. Mantelpiece Glock, a slow burn start, but world-building gold. Unlike the rapid pace of John Wick 2 or 3, Ballerina takes its time getting started. There's quite a bit of setup: her backstory, the murder of her father, her intense training, and her early assignments. It's a slower build-up than fans might expect, but it opens the door to lore expansion, one of the richest parts of the John Wick world. We get glimpses into new rituals, assassin politics, and criminal subcultures. Even small moments, like naming a new boogeyman, echo the myth-making that made Wick's legend so compelling. Sure, some moments feel like awkward winks to the audience. The "you get your own boogeyman" title speech was a bit forced. But the intention is clear. This is Eve's story. Collision action that hits hard and loud. When the action does arrive, it blazes. This movie doesn't hold back. Flamethrowers, grenade duels, hand-to-hand combat. Ballerina finds its groove in kinetic, creative, sometimes gleefully absurd action set pieces. One particular sequence involving grenades and firepower hits like a highlight reel of controlled chaos. Sure, physics takes the occasional vacation. But come on, this is the John Wick universe. You're not here for realism. You're here for style, momentum, and moments that make you audibly say, damn. Chad Stahelski, director of the Wick films, reportedly contributed to the action choreography, and it shows. The gunplay and close-quarters combat have that signature rhythm and brutality. It's like a violent ballet, fitting, given the film's title. Video game missions, mayhem and GTA vibes. The structure of the plot even feels a bit like a video game. There's a mission, it goes sideways, a firefight breaks out. Repeat. It's not a bad thing. If anything, it adds to the pulpy, stylized tone of the film. But like in some open-world games, not all missions feel like they push the narrative forward in meaningful ways. Some elements dropped in the third act feel unearned or unexplored. One plot twist in particular seems like it's meant to land hard, but just fizzles. You might walk out wondering, wait, what was the point of that? Performing arts Ana de Armas, a star in her own right. Ana de Armas absolutely owns this role. If you saw her brief but unforgettable action stint in No Time to Die, you probably had the same thought everyone else did. She needs her own action movie. Ballerina delivers on that potential. She brings elegance, vulnerability, and raw power to Eve, making her someone you want to root for, even when the script falters. She's no John Wick, but she's not trying to be. And that's exactly why she works. Coat the shadow of the Baba Yaga. Keanu Reeves does appear as John Wick in this film, and while his presence is undeniably cool, it risks overshadowing the new lead. The first cameo is subtle, effective, and respectful. But a second, more involved appearance feels like overkill. Continuity-wise, it's also a bit confusing, especially if you're tracking where this film fits between John Wick, Chapter 3 and Chapter 4. Wick shows up mid-recovery between films, to help Eve on a side quest. It doesn't quite track, and feels more like a marketing decision than a narrative one. Still, Keanu is magnetic, as always, and his presence does serve to reinforce the film's biggest theme. Eve is not Wick. She's not that kind of boogeyman. She's something different. And that difference is what makes her interesting. Candle, a bittersweet farewell. A heartfelt surprise in Ballerina is the appearance of the late Lance Reddick. Seeing him again, elegant and composed as ever, is touching. The film was shot before his passing, and his presence adds a bittersweet weight that fans of the franchise will deeply appreciate. Direct hit final thoughts. Ballerina isn't perfect. Its pacing stumbles early on, some plot points go undercooked, and the need to connect back to John Wick sometimes undermines Eve's own narrative. But it's still a fun, stylish, and worthy addition to the expanding universe. It respects the lore while taking risks with tone and character. Ana de Armas proves she's a legitimate action star, and the film delivers enough firepower and flair to satisfy fans of the franchise. It's not John Wick, and that's okay.